Someone yesterday said they were miserable because I only rang the bell 2 times instead of 3. There you go. Let's talk about this. Inflation went up by 4.9% in April, okay, versus a year ago. Here's the thing. Everything compared to a year ago doesn't look good because last year we were still like kind of climbing. As time goes on, as we pass July, because July was like the peak of inflation in 2022. So after we pass July, all these headlines should be getting better, showing that we are actually lower than last year. But the key thing is, do we go down month to month? So this is measuring April. We went down from 5% to 4.9%. So that's good, 0.1% difference. That's headline inflation. That's measuring everything. Core inflation went down slightly at 5.5%. So is this good news or not good news? Well, overall, I would say it's still good news. You could see starting from December, we were at 7.1% and then 6.5%, 6.4%, 6, 5. Going from February to March, big drop, 1% drop. And this time around, only 0.1. And forecast was 5%. So we beat expectations. That's good. But the thing is, we only dropped down 0.1%. Okay, so is that a cause for concern? Because we know Powell said he doesn't want to do any more rate hikes. But what we don't want to see is this inflation data reading in the future stay stagnant and just go sideways or tick upwards. I think it's good. Now, if you look at overall core versus headline, but you could see, obviously, we have come back down from a high of 9% down to 4.9%. That's not too shabby. Obviously, the rate hikes have been working. Core inflation, though, not so much. If you look at this column right here in April, you'll see that the only things that really went down, again, relate to energy. But if you look at a lot of the other things that we buy, for example, I don't know, apparel, 0.3% higher. Medical care commodities, 0.5% higher. Shelter, 0.4% higher. A lot of goods are still going up. Yes, overall headline inflation is going down mostly due to like energy getting cheaper once again, but the price of goods hasn't really moved at all. In fact, they're still kind of trending upwards. Elevated inflation is still here. Powell wants to get to 2%, 3%. He says 2. I think it's going to be impossible to get back down to 2 at this rate. Energy can only go down so much. If everything else still elevated, getting down to 2 is going to be extremely, extremely hard. So maybe in the future FOMC meetings, he could say, well, our target rate is now 3%, right? Or 4%. I don't think he's going to say 4%. I think he is going to change his language to 2 to 3%. And if that's the case, okay, at least 3% is more reasonable because 2%, I just don't see how we're going to go down to 2% from here. I mean, it's not enough. But again, that's why we're in Bitcoin. And that's why retail accumulation now is exceeding the monthly production. And of course, this makes sense. This is the reason why Bitcoin goes up, because you have more buyers than sellers and there's not enough supply, right? There's only so many, I believe 900 Bitcoins get produced per day. 900. And if you think about all the banks and financial apps and the Michael Saylors of the world, right, including the miners also, that are just buying and hoarding, there's really, I would argue, very little new Bitcoins, ones that have no transactions hitting the market. Everything that you're trading, right, has a history basically, because all the new ones are just taken up. That's why, like, supply, even though it seems like there's more Bitcoin coming to circulation, there really isn't. It's all taken, spoken for. So everyone's fighting for what exists now. Just think about that. If any other industry, like the oil industry or the gold industry, fishing industry, whatever industry, announces that, hey, we're going to run out for sure within the next 10, 20 years, think about how much the price of those industries, right? The prices within those industries will go up and skyrocket by. That's why you see a lot of positions under 1, okay, and above 1, above 10, above 100, just keeps going up and up and up and up and up, because people that do understand that concept, that Bitcoin is scarce and has a limited supply and we won't have infinite amount of it, well, they're the ones that are stocking up. Right now, a lot of people are still aiming for that 50 to 60K mark, thinking that we will have a parabolic rise up to those levels. Very similarly, like in 2019, when we finally broke out of 3,000 and we kind of trended upwards a little bit towards 6,000-ish, and then boom, we had a huge spike up to 14,000 before retracing down a little bit. Many people think that we are going to see the same situation. We came up from 15,000, right? Now we're right at that cusp where we can suddenly go up, boom, in the same manner, end up around 50 to 60,000, and then retracing a little bit back down before we get ready for 2024 and the halving event. So there are still a lot of traders that think this is going to come, and it's going to come much faster than people think, because that's what happened in 2019 as well, right? But long term, this is what we have to look forward to, right? We are still moving in the right direction, which is up. There's some FUD again in the U.S. I mean, besides Gary Gensler, the White House is also causing FUD. Supposedly, they're talking about taxing miners 30% based on energy usage, regardless if they are profitable or not. That's absolutely bonkers. And I don't know if it's like legit or not, but there's supposed to be some talks. But that's why a lot of miners are now trying to get ready for that. We know there's a lot of states that are very pro Bitcoin mining. They have enacted law that says you can't not Bitcoin mine. You can't kick them out, right? They have legal rights to mine. And there's many states that are like that. But in case the White House or Congress goes nutty and enforces the stupid tax, well, people don't want to. They want to hedge their bets, so to speak, right? They don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. So like someone like Marathon is actually going to Abu Dhabi to power their first large-scale liquid cooling Bitcoin mining farm. And unfortunately, this will continue to happen if the U.S. continues to cause FUD around Bitcoin mining, around crypto in general, self-custody, everything around it, right? There's just so much FUD, and I don't quite get it. I do kind of get it, and I kind of don't get it. I get that, the U.S., along with all these other countries, want to protect their own bank. They want to protect their central bank, in our case, the Fed, and of course, the many, many banks that operate. So I kind of get it from that perspective. But, driving out innovation to other countries is not what we want.